I have to admit, the last two videos I've made, working the Osage bows, they haven't really been my best because I've been so distracted by so many things. Life, what's happening in the world today, the turmoil, the cost to us financially as individuals because of this inflation. Wondering, am I going to have this house in 3 years the way things are going? The trajectory is not good. It's going instead of. And I'll sit down here and I'll make a video, and and not download it. I've made so many, and I go off on these political rants. It's like, wake up, people. Just try to remember, you know, 6 years ago, how we had more money in our pockets. There were no major wars happening. In fact, the world was calming down. It's like, just remember 6 years ago, before this suspicious timed thing happened. It's like, I'm not going to go off on a political rant. I want to talk about bows. But in the context of this business I want to start, and I really haven't, just because time and energy aren't there, because so many other things are happening. I want to talk about bows, the future of John J. Riggs archery, and I go off on a political rant. But as I've said many times before, everything is interconnected. It's a web, it's a spider web. It's not bows in politics, especially when it's bows in business and politics, because it's all connected. I'm gonna talk a little bit about how bows are connected to collectibles. Antique motorcycles, or vintage motorcycles. They're vintage, they're not antiques. Or antique pocket watches, or antique lunch boxes, Basically, desirable stuff that is a part of our history and has, let's admit it, stuff made back when generally has more style, more personality than stuff made now. People as a whole, it wouldn't be that way if people as a whole didn't go along with it. People as a whole today, more into function than form. A prime example of it is an electric motorcycle. The sound is sick. It sounds like an RC car or a vacuum cleaner. It doesn't have the soul of a two-stroke, and four strokes too, let's admit. The sound of a Harley Davidson. But anyway, getting back to the bow thing, if I was to logically price a commission stave-made bow, let's say a horse bow, and don't feel bad if you're one of the four people that I'm doing the commission bows for, because, I get as much out of it as you do, just the practice and the challenge of it. It's important. It's important for me because I make bows. And so every time I work on a bow that's challenging, honestly, it's good for me. So don't feel bad when I say this. But if I was to logically give you a quote, for, let's say, an Osage bow that's sinew-backed, that was made out of a challenging stave that required a lot of heat shaping to get the ginks and the twists and the roller coasters out of it, it'd be $900, not $350 or something like that. Because what I'm bringing into the household, which is necessary so I don't continue to live at a deficit, drawing from my savings, doing everything possible not to go into credit card debt, man, I get it. A lot of us don't have a spare $800 or $900 just to put out. That's why I've been pricing them low, because I feel your pain. But I have to stop that. There comes a point when, it's like, I need to save myself and my wife and ensure that we're not going to get thrown out of our house because we can't make the mortgage payments. So what do? How can I build my business, actually sell a quantity of things consistently, not hoping that I get an $800 or $900 commission, which is you know, if I sold everything for $10, I'd sell a lot of stuff and it would hurt me financially. But getting back to the point, I always wander off, and in the back of my mind, it's like, come on, people, just remember 6 years ago how much better off you are. You want to do the same thing. That's my only political rant here. I'm going to have to analyze what I can do, how I can do it, and actually escape the need, because I live in a small community with not a lot of job opportunities. I can't just go, to a place and say, do you want to hire me, and then get $25 an hour. It doesn't work. It's a wonderful place, but the trade-off in living in a small, very crime-free place is there's not a lot of job opportunities, so I have to do it for myself. Don't ask somebody else to do it for me. I need to do it for myself. And so the future really, I believe, at this point in time, is a mixture. A few bows that I do at the logical pricing, because there are people that can afford a lot of money, to lay down for a really cool bow. But to do the cool bows more economically feasible for my audience. And it always comes back to, this kind of stuff right here. $100 for a bow blank. And I can do them for my paddle bows. I can do them for my snake bow. This is snake bow blank. Or I can do them, this is very economical, for my Ren bow, Renaissance Fair bow. The hard work is done. You don't even need to round the back. You could just take this thing, round the edges, get a strip of cloth that has that photo impression of, what do you call that, Western Diamondback, put the grooves in here, string on, you got a bow. Refine the handle a little bit. There is nothing technologically challenging, unless you've never operated a screwdriver before, or a sanding block, to turn this into a bow, for about $100. For about $100, you can have this. This is a nice bow. Maybe you want to recurve the tips a little bit, or a lot. None of that is challenging. It really isn't. And when you sell things at a lower price, you're going to sell more of them more consistently, instead of hoping that somebody's going to put down the $800-900. It'll happen, but it wouldn't happen often. Whereas I really need to get it in gear, find the time and energy, make the time and energy to get my website up and do that. So yeah, I come down here a few hours before work. It's nice not having to be at the place until 8 o'clock, because I'm an early morning person, so I might have 4 hours before I go to work. I can kind of putter around, drink coffee, make video after video, and not download it because it gets pretty ugly. That's about it. I don't know if I mentioned, distracted and not putting out the finest stuff lately. But on the flip side, I look at my body of work on YouTube. Talked about multiple videos on rawhide backing, multiple videos on preparing sinew and sinew backing. I think I even did one on how I made my Scribe-O-Matic, which then bounces into another thing. And again, I'm just talking. I'm not, judging whatsoever. Honestly, I'm not judging. But when I started making bows, there was kind of a vacuum on information. And so I was piecing along, how can I take this wood and make it bend and not break and then throw an arrow? Just like a lot of you old-timers out there. And I'm an old-timer. So we didn't have the internet. We didn't have access to a lot of books. We didn't even realize, that these books were out there. And we may have, if you were like me, spent a couple of years just making crap bows and breaking them. Let's be honest. If you don't have any help and you're trying to sort this out, you're going to have a lot of failures, but you're learning. You ask yourself, how can I figure out how to do this? Whereas today it's just easy access, to YouTube. And I see it in the comments. I've been criticized before. Do this, do this, do this. It's like, I didn't have the opportunity to be rude to somebody making a video and not making money off it and trying to teach you something. It just didn't, and I don't get this lack of respect. It's like, ask for your money back. Oh, you're not being charged for this information. So just, shut the hell up. And if you don't like it, don't watch it. It's a completely different mindset. But getting back to this point that I think I had is don't lose that drive to figure out for yourself for things. How do you do this? Make a video on it. And us old timers might say, well, it's a pretty simple concept. And it doesn't need to look just like mine. Don't get trapped by the modern thinking that you get stumped and then immediately go to YouTube or Google or whatever, and try to find the answers. Spend a few minutes and figure stuff out, especially the simple stuff. And I'm not saying this is an insulting way. If you have the information, you can find it. But at the same time, don't lose that ability to figure out stuff for yourself. What would happen if one of the millions of people that cross the border, and this is not theoretical, this is reality, knocks out our communication system? Because there are a lot of people that cross the border, that's their intent, knocking out our communication, knocking out our electrical grid, knocking out, our water sources, because all this stuff is controlled by computers, and people have crossed the border that are computer experts, sponsored by their state, which wants to see us fail. They're already here. Just look at the number of people, just like the Mariel boat lift, Cuba, cleaning out their prisons and then just sending them here. Oh, hi. Hey there, Roger. Roger the cat. Shiny object. They're here. And so there will come a time in the future, whether or not it's next week or next year or 2 years from now, where they will fulfill their goals of like knocking things out, and you're going to have to figure things out on your own. But anyway, that's going to lead into an ugly rant. A lot of those happen nowadays. And then I will not download this video. But that's it. I'm going to say, hey, Raj. It's kind of a cute little cat that we don't know if he has a home. It's entirely possible, because there was a house here and the mother passed away and had cats. Imagine that. And then one of the kids came in and just kicked them all out of the house and just, good luck. And that's one of the good luck cats there that we are going to, because we are generous people and we have compassion, turn old Roger there into a house cat, especially this winter. It's tough on these poor little things. They're trying to make their way in the world. They don't have a support system, and it's cold outside. And so we're going to do our best to eliminate a little bit of suffering here. Now I'm done. Have a good one. Drink that second cup of coffee, my friends. On me.